One of the most popular presidential candidates, not only in 2020, but also in 2016, was Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders got a lot of Americans saying, "Eat the rich," because he was a socialist. And overall, him, as well as a lot of other American citizens, believed that wealth should not be accumulated in one concentrated area, but should rather be distributed in a more even way amongst the citizens of the country. And this ties into today's quotation, "Where wealth accumulates, men decay," from Oliver Goldsmith. Overall, we have to agree with Oliver's quotation here, because we have to understand that wealth can oppress morals. And we'll be able to see how wealth oppresses morals in two key areas. First, we'll be able to see how it prohibits public safety. And second, we'll be able to see how it hinders accurate information from spreading. So going into this first key area of analysis, what a lot of the protesters who are claiming "eat the rich" were going for is that they believe that a lot of people should be given the same economical opportunities in order to prohibit their safety and housing and how they are overall taking care of themselves in the healthcare system. And this is a common idea seen in the fact that wealth can overall prohibit public and environmental safety. And this is going to be showcased in two key examples. First, in Rachel Carson, who is the author of Silent Spring. When a lot of pesticides were being used across America, Rachel Carson published a book called Silent Spring in order to convince individuals that this was bad. However, since a lot of people were profiting off of pesticides, they decided to call Rachel Carson crazy, that she didn't know what she was talking about, and overall that pesticides were researched and proven to be good. Because people wanted to continue profiting off of pesticides, they ignored Rachel Carson's Silent Spring for a long amount of time, even though Carson was trying to promote the idea that pesticides were overall a threat to public safety and to the American health system. So what we can see here is that when people finally started to listen to Carson, that was able to allow pesticides to be banned in order to favor that health. But we can also see this in the example of what's currently going on right now with the coronavirus, particularly in Colorado. In an anti-quarantine protest in Colorado, one protester was shown using the sign, "Save my right to die." Essentially, what these protesters were saying is that they wanted to go back to a normal economy and a normal life, and they believe that they should have the option to choose whether they should die or live. However, many people who are targeted by the coronavirus don't get that choice if other people go out of quarantine and live about their daily lives. So what we can see here is that the desire to have a normal life is so bad that people often don't believe others should be given the choice of whether they're able to go out, and that can overall be a threat to public safety, especially in the time of a pandemic. So what we see here is that this greed and desire for a normal life overall is oppressing that safety that we need right now in America. So not only can this prohibit public safety, but this also hinders accurate information from spreading around the country. Because what we see here is that when wealth is concentrated in one place, that makes it hard for a lot of people to get accurate information. And this is also seen in two key areas of analysis. First, we're going to take a look at Mark Zuckerberg. Around the end of 2019, Zuckerberg made the decision to not fact-check political ads. And when many people challenged this decision, deciding that it wasn't exactly a great choice in the overall scheme of media literacy, Zuckerberg countered and said overall that Zuckerberg said that if the content was newsworthy enough, he would keep the information up on Facebook. Essentially, what Facebook had said in response to a lot of the challenges being raised about this decision is that if they had a story to profit off of, they were going to keep the ad up whether it was accurate or not. So what we see here in a lot of media is that if they can get profit and money and wealth off of a story, they do not care whether it's accurate information surrounding the media. So what we can see here is that wealth can oppress that moral to give people accurate information as long as it makes Zuckerberg make a profit. But we'll also be able to see this in the Broadway musical Be More Chill. In this musical, the main premise is that a high schooler named Jeremy takes a squip, which is a pill which is a pill that contains a supercomputer. And he takes the squib in order to get the most updated way to be cool or be hip in his high school. And essentially, the squib promotes this idea within Jeremy throughout the musical that if he can get the most people to like him, he won't need his old friend Michael, and he won't need to be himself because people will automatically just like him for how he appears to act. The squib was trying to enforce this idea in Jeremy that if he can get the most amount of people to like him, that's the best idea and the best way to live life. Unfortunately, this absolutely destroyed Jeremy's friendship with Michael because it made Jeremy prioritize his own greed of having popularity over his oldest best friend. So what we can see here is that oftentimes, just like the squib did with Jeremy, wealth can hinder accurate information and decision-making happening not only just in a high schooler, but also in the country, as it doesn't allow that accurate information to actually spread. So going back to today's quotation, where wealth accumulates, men decay, by Oliver Goldsmith. We have to agree with this quotation because what we see here is that wealth can oppress morals, and it does so by prohibiting public safety as well as hindering accurate information from spreading. So a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters overall came out and said eat the rich because they believe for wealth to not be concentrated in one area. Because when wealth is concentrated in one area, humanity decays.